If you're thinking about creating a coloring book or a low content book, but you have no idea where to find the artwork to go inside of the book or on your cover, today I'm going to be discussing how I found my illustrator for my coloring book company, Entrepreneurs Color 2. And I'm also going to be discussing what you need to do before looking for an illustrator, how to find an illustrator, and the cost of an illustrator. So if this is something that you think would be beneficial for you, then make sure you subscribe below and hit that like button. Hi guys, I'm Latoya Nicole and I help entrepreneurs create passive income selling journals, coloring books, workbooks, and more. Okay, so you're thinking about creating a book that requires illustrations and you have the idea, but now what? I get asked all the time, how do I find an illustrator? The first thing that I understood was that I wanted to find an illustrator that had already created coloring books. Now, this was important to me because I didn't want to have to teach someone how to actually do that part of the job. I wanted someone who already had experience doing it and had already had good quality images. So I tried to find the illustrator by going to the biggest retail place there is to find books, Amazon. So what I did was I just searched through all of the books that were on Amazon. There were none that I could find that were adult coloring books that had Black women on the covers, not realistic Black women, right? So what I did was I started looking through children's books. And the first thing I did was to look to see if the illustrator was actually located on the book itself. Because sometimes when people publish books, they may or may not put the illustrator on the front of the book. So sometimes you have to look inside the book. Amazon offers a great look inside feature. So I was able to look inside of all of the books that I saw that I liked and see if the illustrator was listed. When I looked at a few books, I saw one that had the illustrator that I really liked listed in the book. So it didn't have the illustrator's contact information. So what I did was simply Googled her. Google is your best friend. So I Googled her. And once I Googled her, her social media came up as well as her email address to contact her. I reached out to her. I introduced myself, told her a little bit of what I was looking for. I was like, hey, I'm getting ready to release a coloring book and I need some illustrations. I need about 24. I told her the number and everything. I told her the size that the book was going to be. We discussed the cost for the illustrations. We also discussed the contract to put in place. I also went through her portfolio to look to see if there were any images that I could screenshot to see if there was anything like the style that I was actually looking for. So I screenshotted the images from Amazon as well as some from her portfolio so that I could begin gathering my research together to provide her what I was going to need for the book. Now, what should you do before you start looking for an illustrator? It is extremely important that before you start looking for an illustrator, you know exactly what you want. You have to know the type of images that you want for your book because you're going to be the one that has to paint the picture for the illustration to bring you images that come to life. But you have to know what you want. One of the things that I run across a lot is that most people don't really know what they want. So when they reach out to an illustrator, they're confused on what illustrator to go with, what they should be looking for in the illustrator. They're confused on a lot of the basics just because they really don't know what they want. If you have two people that don't really know your vision, you and the illustrator, then it's going to be a problem because they may be able to formulate a vision, but they may not be able to. So everything they provide for you, if you don't know what you want, you're going to be saying, well, no, I don't really like that. No, I don't really like that. You're going to be feeding off of them versus coming to them saying, this is what I need, and then making sure their picture or image lines up with what you're saying, right? So you need to know what you want. That is very important. The way you can find out some ideas or get inspiration is by simply going to Google to do searches. You can also look at things from everyday life. If you see, let's say, a dress that you see that has flowers on it and you love it, take a picture of that dress. If you find one online, screenshot it and say, this is one of the dresses I want on one of my images. If you go through your illustrators or illustrators that you're looking for, if you go through their portfolio and you see, hey, I saw a girl and she had an afro. It was so big and full and I loved it. Then make sure you point that out or screenshot that so you have details, because you have to be the one that provides the illustrator with details. So you need to be able to have that information together to give to the illustrator once you reach out to them. So that is very important, that you know what you want before reaching out to an illustrator. Now, let's say, for example, you're trying to create a coloring book or a low content book like a journal, and you just need some illustrations inside, and you're not a creative person. You can go to sites like Creative Fabrica and you can get illustration packages that already have the coloring book together, or just coloring pages where you can actually put the coloring book together from the pages that are already pre-made. A lot of people do use those type of sites. One thing that I will suggest, if you use those sites, try to always add images on top of those images. Like if you get a coloring page, add some hearts to it, add maybe some words to it. Do something to make the image changed and to make it your own image. What happens if you don't, you might see exact coloring books like you have with someone else on Amazon, because anyone can purchase those type of pre-made and custom-made templates from sites like Creative Fabrica. So just be sure, if you do use something like that, if you're not that creative and you just want to do something, or you just want to do something quick, then just make sure you customize it to fit your specific vision and your brand. Now let's discuss other ways to find an illustrator and how to hire an illustrator. So when you're looking to hire an illustrator, you can use sites like Upwork.com. Those are freelance sites where you can send custom offers to someone, just detailing in the offer what you're looking for, how much you're willing to spend, how many pages you need, if it's going to be paperback or hardback, where you're publishing, if you're going to be published on Amazon KDP, if you're going to be publishing through Ingram Spark. You just want to have all the details, specify what you're looking for and how many images, and you can go from there. Most people, when you send the offer, people are going to reach back out to you. You can then view their profiles and choose from there. You do want to discuss things like work for hire, making sure that you have legal rights to all of the images, and just making sure that they're able to communicate well, and just make sure that the time frame is going to be something that you are hoping it's going to be. Usually with my coloring books, they take anywhere from 6 to 8 weeks to finish. They should not take much longer than that, honestly. Now let's discuss the cost. If you are looking to get quality original illustrations drawn for your coloring book or your book that you want to publish, you can expect that you're going to pay at least $50 for an image. So let's say you have 24 images like I do in my coloring book. You can expect to pay at least $1,400 to get the whole coloring book done. Now, if $1,400 for a coloring book is out of your budget, you can go to sites like Creative Fabrica, like I said before, and get pre-made templates where it's a fraction of that cost. You can also go places like Upwork where you can negotiate the cost. Or you can create your own images using sites like Canva. You can do an inspirational coloring book and you can do that for free. But I did at least want to give you the cost breakdown for different avenues so that you can budget accordingly. Okay, so now you know what to do before looking for an illustrator, how to find an illustrator, and the cost of an illustrator. Now that you have everything you need to get started, you're one step closer to publishing. But if you're new to publishing, you can download my free guide in the description below on how to create your first low content book the easy way. Also, be sure to subscribe and share this video with someone that you believe it can help. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.